My full name is Mary de Sousa, and maybe it's not obvious, but it's the case that I've grown up between two cultures. I'm half Indian, half Irish. I'm neither one nor the other, but I'm bits of both. At the moment, I'm writing a collection of short stories titled Mother, and the one that I'm going to read is based on my experience of my mother, who was Irish, dying a long way from her roots in a hospital in the West Midlands, and my last desperate attempt to bring her a little bit of Ireland for her last moments. And it's called The Blue Starts at the Feet. I watched from a mattress on the floor as every hour they turned too easily what was left of her. On the third day they wheeled me in a bed, so we were eye to eye now, side by side, waiting. "How will I know?" I'd asked. "The blue starts at the feet," the nurse told me, motioning me to the end of her bed and lifting the coverlet. I was tired of watching, but I didn't want to be buying another stale salad in the hospital canteen when she went. She had been there when I arrived, and forever since. The nurse, kind, tired, efficient, had the skill all good nurses possess. She'd watched me carefully and knew what I could bear. My mother had this same skill when this was her world, when she swished and bustled through these heavy doors with her blue uniform and steely eye. There's no real darkness or silence in hospital, just as if you stay long enough there's no real world outside anymore. There's always something emitting an unearthly white light, always something buzzing or humming, always someone groaning rhythmically. So I was awake each time they came and watched as they changed the pink hospital nightie, laid her arms neatly on top of the clean, smooth sheet once again, readying her for an appointment she kept missing. She was putting it on the long foot. Never mind the white paper dove tin-tacked to the door of her room to let everyone know. She wasn't having any of it. So between times I sat and held the hand that could still open and reeled off the names of her family, Mammy, Daddy, the run-through of the saints' names of her siblings. I dripped water into her mouth and I sang. When she lost her mind near the end, we could still belt out Fields of Athenry. I told her things I didn't believe and couldn't know. That her eldest son would be there waiting for her. That her mammy would be there beside him. That everything would be all right. That I would take care of everything. Sometimes when more was to be done to her, I was shooed gently from the room and went to make a cup of tea at the nurse's station. The geriatric ward was bursting. Next door I glimpsed a Sikh man with a huge snow-white beard, sat upright as magnificent as a lion, a beatific smile on his face, surrounded by his children, the mirror covered with yellow silk. She would have loved to have told me that story after work. Each time I returned to her I checked. This time the small feet with the terrible bunions looked white in one light and pale violet in another. I couldn't tell you when this started, when the worm first pushed itself into her brain. I don't even know if that's a good metaphor. The first thing to know about dementia is that you don't really know anything. When it came, I had to reconjure her fast, but I was used to that. I've imagined her all my life, even when she was standing right in front of me. She'd moved a lot and left much of herself in Ireland, so she didn't always know who exactly to be. I looked again, and the mottled bruising had passed the toes. It had begun. I panicked and searched for the little glass phial. Whenever I came home, she sprinkled a few drops of lavender on my pillow. When I was small and stricken with asthma, she sat with me, reading books, breaking Carvol capsules under my nose and fixing a scapula to my neck, hedging her bets. Now I leant close and held the little bottle under her nose. And then I searched my phone, turned up the volume and held it to her good ear. Luke Kelly rasping "I sang a song for Ireland" shocked us both back to life. From where, I will never know, she whispered "thank you." There was no priest, so I crossed her forehead with water and took a run at the Hail Mary, and she was gone. Afterwards I visit her in the funeral parlour. She's so very little. Only the thinnest slice of her is left, her famine face carved deep. That face could be in black and white, sat outside a cottage with smoke curling out of the chimney behind. She's wrapped in a thick green shawl with paisley pattern, but don't be fooled. She's disguised to the last. The shawl is from Pakistan. She spent 2 weeks there visiting me, enjoying the fact she'd made the journey more than a holiday. She dived into the life of the house, the cook, the driver, the guards, the garden and the birds. She watched a hoopoe and a blue roller, and I laughed at her joy. She holds a wooden rosary beads from Mexico in the good hand. They've hidden the feet and the trousers, which are too long, are extended so she looks tall for once. The trouble with me is, I'm butty, she told me once, lapsing into Dublin slang in the changing room in Marks and Sparks, as we hunt down the highly elusive right pair of trousers. I can see now we obviously didn't find them. And they were only outdone by the pair of shoes that fit. That, we both know, does not exist, and heaven knows we searched the length and breadth of England and Ireland for them. She had buried Ireland deep apart from trips home, but dementia pushed it back up to the surface. A badly behaved dog was a bowsy. When she was on the rampage, the accent slipped back to Chapelizard. In moments when she surfaced from the confusion, she'd found an old solution to our troubles. What if we all gathered round? She asked me. She taught me a million things and gave me the strength to reject what I didn't want. How to do hospital corners, how to be kind, how important words are, how difficult it is to raise 4 children alone. When I make her Christmas cake, I see her hands in the bowl. What I didn't know she had also taught me was how to say goodbye to her.